The revelation of the Sacrosanct Cosmology, in Memoriam 1. Darkness enveloped the isle remote as Russell paced his cell, by visions wrought with ominous tidings burning in his soul. Through iron bars a moonbeam stole, reflecting inner turmoil and unrest, when suddenly a brilliance cleft the night, paralyzing Russell with its light. There, hovering aloft beyond the walls, four-armed Kali, eyes ablaze with righteous calls. Russell fell to his knees, as there was shown a glimpse of what upon the world would soon be thrown. "Rise, prophet," Kali called, her voice a crack of doom. "I've shown you signs and symbols, secrets that shall shake all realms down to their core, and quake the very foundations of all domains. Though imprisoned for speaking truths too plain, you must not now be silenced. Your message is urgent, the end approaches, and people need your words as detergent to cut through darkness, and light the way in these grim times, this new judgment day." With that her presence vanished, but Russell now knew the calling that he must pursue, to bear witness to the terrors and triumphs at hand that soon would sweep across the land. Too inspired, Russell etched symbols by moonlight pale, recording all he had heard and seen in this veil, so others might decipher and understand the signs of fate's design, and the forthcoming lines that split the calm and ended life's long stasis. With rising urgency, he scribbled on his thesis of Vishnu, who had conquered even death, both judge and savior he. Russell scrawled with bated breath, "And he will return in glory when all eyes see his final victory." Of the Savior's own death Russell continued to pen, noting the date, coinciding then with the rise of the Mauryas, exactly 2 millennia past according to astronomical forecast. He wrote of 7 cycles that must conclude with planetary alignments, as ancient Vedas allude. Yet mysteries remained around that fated span, when redemption would come to man through the divine champion's willing sacrifice. Russell's pen took flight as visions filled his sight of 7 seals barring revelation's light, awaiting the lion to rend bonds and unleash mystery upon mystery without cease. Most potent was the vision where Russell was shown Vishnu upon his heavenly throne, lesser gods spun in worship. Cities shone before his 1,000 brilliant arms and feet with light sublime. No sun could hope to meet at the sight. Russell fell, overwhelmed, destroyed, yet Vishnu's touch his strength restored with the charge, "Fear not, spread what you've seen and heard, the end is nigh." Each fateful word. Gasping, Russell's quill at last came to rest. Much remained to tell, but revelation's behest had taxed his mind, leaving mysteries still unexpressed. Yet the secrets were unfolding, this he knew, and he must warn all with ears to hear of terrors and wonders drawing near. 3. As Russell paused to regain his breath, still reeling from each vision's aftermath, Vishnu gazed upon him, piercing yet kind. His many arms bore symbols of life and destruction entwined, but through it all shone an aura of grace. When Vishnu spoke, his voice resounded through heaven, and Russell's soul unbounded. "I hold the keys to all mysteries here and beyond. Nothing escapes my sight, for I see each soul and judge their deeds with wisdom and justice whole." Yet even in his holiness, sorrow marked Vishnu's face. Many now are indifferent in their devotion, lukewarm in love and obedience's potion. They've forgotten their source, straying from Dharma's way. If they don't repent, their place in Swarga they'll forfeit one day. Dark clouds gathered as Vishnu's tone turned cold. Others cling weakly to virtue's hold, though falsehood and temptation thrive undefended. Woe to those compromising truth for earthly ends, unless they prove steadfast as the one of humanity who sacrificed all to set them free. Their lamps too will be taken from paradise. A chill wind blew through the vaulted hall. Russell shuddered, sensing impending judgment's call. How long could righteous anger be stalled? This world approached its downfall. 4. No sooner had Russell set down his quill than the very earth began to shake with a cataclysmic groan as worlds awaken outside. The sun grew dark behind a veil, plunging all in unnatural dusk and pall. Everywhere nobles and peasants wailed alike, sensing their sins now stacked too high, the price of earthly vice, the social order cracked. Kings abandoned their decadent courts, begging destruction to pass them by. But Kali's wrath had only sparked alive. Angels with fearsome trumpets filled the sky, unleashing devastation. At her cry, plagues would scour the earth, strip all back to first principles, removing all the rot of human pride in defiance of their lot. The trembling earth reflected the quakes in society as prophecy foretold. Planets aligned cosmically, signaling the old order's end was nigh. Russell saw the darkened sun matched Maya predictions of eclipses tied to their calendar's divisions. 5. No more could Russell record the revelations overflowing, for now they came too fast. All-knowing, a towering angel robed in splendor strode forth, eyes of piercing flame that saw all moral worth. It held a mystery for Russell to swallow, sweet yet acidic, promising bitter sorrow. As the vision faded, Russell knew his task: to issue warnings across the ages. Though shrouded before him lay scrolls 7 sealed, fate encoded, each veil lifted with loose new plagues unfettered, further shedding light on redemption's shattered remains, coiled still in depths no man had sounded. But who was worthy to loose each seal? None, till the worthy Lamb appeared, to feel each revelation sting, each woe, each will. None but he who bled sacrifice could e'er reveal the design complete, and righteousness unseal. 6. With bated breath Russell watched the Lamb unbind the first of 7 seals, to loose what lay behind. 4 figures emerged on steeds of varying kind, harbingers of the horrors left to find. The first rode forth on white with bow to sow seeds of conquest o'er the lands below. The second held a sword to reap war's bloody road. Third rode famine's scales, unbalanced. Askew last rode death itself, plague's harvest its cruel due. The 4 horsemen emerged, matching each sign foretold. White presaged the Gupta's rise, so scrolls of old attested. Red recalled Mongol invasions, history confessed famine and plague cycles. Egypt's collapse suggested. Under heaven's altar souls piled high like leaves, crying in anguish for judgment's reprieve. Russell wept to see such terror, birthed more wrath yet, coiled in those seals ungirth. 7. As the second seal undid its fatal noose, 4 angels rose, one at each corner cut loose, seizing the winds in their mighty hold, that none of the faithful feel plague's cold, until all were sealed, their souls made whole. Numberless multitudes stood clad in white, led to fountains, redeemed by the Lamb's might, every tear wiped away in paradise's sight. No more sorrow, only everlasting delight. Russell rejoiced to see salvation's promise earned, yet new grim visions remained, secrets still unlearned. More plagues lurked beneath seals yet unturned. 8. The third seal's unraveling brought renewed doom. 7 angels bearing long dormant trumpets of old, at once each horn blared out notes that eclipsed all extolled, and with them new waves of anguish rolled. Locusts came forth in endless swarms, sinking vile fangs to strip and deform every green and growing thing. A blight most bizarre next plague struck down mortals where they stood. From the abyss demon locusts came, tormenting souls not sealed by the Lamb. 5 cycles long with their droning den, breaking all but the redeemed saints within. Russell wept at such strange affliction. More darkly still the seals would predict. How much more could the earth withstand before revealing fate's full sleight of hand? 9. As the 4th seal shattered, 4 demons crawled forth, each Rakshasa bore twisted coils from the void's black hearth. Though faces appeared human, only malice filled their spirit. Snaking tails writhed round their forms, crested with maws to inherit every soul. Their vile poisons might taint and imperil. Lashing barbed tails magnified with the scorpion's vicious sting, these fiends rampaged, leaving all in wreathing ruins. Ring for 1 year and a moon, their authority blighting, extinguishing helpless lives with delight most frightening. None withstood them save those marked by the Lamb alighting. Their dominion matched ancient records of Han, where astrologers predicted plague's caravan when retrograde Mercury and Mars aligned to unmanned civilization in waves prolonged and baneful. Ancient astronomy proved ever truthful. At the horrors, Russell collapsed, drained of hope. How could the world endure this endless scope of miseries, relentless, twisted pains evoking? Abyssal seals still shadowed providence, opaque, more dark revelations still to invoke. When would the six peel back its masking cloak and loose the next nightmare with no delay? Russell trembled, longing for salvation's day, yet knowing creation first must walk its destined way through tribulation's searing crucible to purge the dross before bliss's living scroll. 10. No rest for the prophet came as a vow spoke. Vishnu emerged, his will now broke. The time grew short, mysteries climaxing, though hints of bitterness on Russell's tongue were still ringing. Some sweetness for the righteous remained. He must spread this warning to people across every terrain, with what faint hopes he could yet attain. Vishnu withdrew, surveying with righteous vision his ravaged lands, and the souls therein before his sight. All stood naked, spirits laid bare, judged by his wisdom beyond all compare. 11. As the fifth seal was broken and cast aside, two radiant prophets were seen, now glorified, protected by providence. They braved each danger faced, and for 1200 days railed against sin's disgrace. From Babel's false height they were cut down, yet the earth split at their resurrection's renown, toppling pride, shaking foundations around. Russell wept, seeing faithfulness so repaid, though revelations remained, mysteries unflayed still coiled, and those seals not peeled away. How much more could the earth bear? He sighed in dismay. 12. The sixth seal's removal brought war. Invisible Michael against the dragon Vritra did spill, once lofty, now laid broken low, cast out. The serpent's fury only grew across all realms. He spread poison, a new deceit he sowed in mankind's hearts impure, stalking the sacred bride without relent or cure. Not even the lamb's blood could those souls imbue, once consumed by the ancient snake's venom brew. Russell despaired at the conflict and strife, sure to ravage both heaven and earthly life. 13. The churning sea gave rise to a vile creature with 7 crowned heads and 10 horns. No earthly feature, none could stand against its authority, blistering save those in the book of life still glistening. Another beast rose, promoting worship unrestrained of the first, through signs and sorceries profaned. Russell shuddered at darkness holding such sway without the Lamb's light. How could any disobey? 14. Before Kali's throne the redeemed sang glorious. 3 angels appeared with warnings gory of Babylon's fall. All ties must be severed from her sins, those with wisdom delivered. No mercy could be shown for grievous stains. Now judgment closed, and swift as she reaped what was sown, weeping called the harvest on those wicked overthrown. Blood flowed as wine crushed, and wrath's vineyard fermented. All saw Vishnu's justice was no longer prevented. Russell wept to see such fates intertwine, salvation and damnation's double bind. How long until the final cataclysms grind? 15. The 7th seal split, and 7 more angels descended, matching 7 visible planets then aligned, cosmically portended. A sign seen but once in cycles of days long extended. Now prophecies made in those eras long past ascended to fulfillment. Thus the astronomer sages comprehended. Each bore a vial of rage to unleash every bitter drag. None could enter the temple resplendent till these plagues spent their force turbulent. All that was, is, and is yet to come, now imminent, trembled at mysteries on their fullness contingent. Russell fell to his knees as terror and joy did ferment. The end was proclaimed, finally judgment sent. 16. At the first angel's pour, vile sores erupted below, afflicting the beast's followers with agonizing will. The second turned seas to blood, death in the waters, so the third soured the springs beyond any use they could know. Under the fourth men were seared, yet denied death's sweet blow. Though ravaged and defiled beyond all recognition, still the wicked clung to their own superstition, hearts hardened against truth beyond all intercession. Russell wept seeing such defiance meet correction. How long could Vishnu stay his own hand? All now rested on the precipice grand between destruction and salvation's loving command. 17. On scarlet wings rose a beast-bearing mystery Babylon, with blood and luxury ensnaring her. Sins must now be reckoned, no more forbearing judgment closed in on the faithless, no respite sharing. Russell gazed in awe upon her, destined wreck by lust for power and wealth. Her people she led astray, but now the time had come for spiritual debts to pay. None can flout divine law indefinitely. 18. As light spewed forth, Babylon fell broken. An angel proclaimed, all ties must be forsaken. Once mighty, now a den for demons dread, a haunt for spirits unclean, and waste laid where once flourished riches, now rubble decayed. Merchant and monarch lamented bitterly then, for in an instant, their worldly might met its end. Where decadence once towered, a smoking pit remained, consumed by righteousness' wrath unrestrained. Russell looked upon this, wondered and wept in one brief hour. Pride before the judgment seat crept for sins years long, sudden justice reaped. None can defy divine will for all time. 19. The heavens erupted with choruses sublime as Shakti's victory was confirmed in its season. Vishnu descended in triumph, uniting with his sacred bride. By grace and wisdom proved worthy to abide, despite every trial and sorrow they vied. In raiment of linen, her deeds shone as gems strung. Mercy, compassion, courage when darkness clung. Their joyous union brought creation peace. Long sought the wedding of the divine, witnessed and bought. Russell rejoiced though wept as well, knowing still the final reckoning remained, pains yet growing, one last bloodletting before creation's renewing. 20. An angel then came, mighty beyond all naming, bearing chains to bind the dragon Vritra. Shaming a millennium he would be detained, while martyrs beside Vishnu in heaven reigned. But when loosed again, his plots had not waned. The remnant he poisoned and turned towards hating the holy city, their judgment awaiting. Fire rained down on those minds deceit laden. As ashes settled, Shakti's flag was unfurled. The end was proclaimed to all the world. Russell steeled himself for destiny's last unveiling, the unbearable climax of cosmos healing. 21. When balance was shattered with deafening cracks, Russell saw a new creation rise from the ashes. The old burned away by Agni's unrelenting lashes. Descending from the brilliance, a city encrusted with gems stood revealed, illumined with light trusted. No sun could compare to its radiance, untarnished within. A choir beyond all choirs flourished, praising the Creator's wisdom unblemished. The New Jerusalem where saints joy unbanished. 22. From Vishnu's throne flowed a shimmering river, sweeping suffering's taint, and souls delivering to spiritual life vibrant. All who partaking were healed and renewed in their sacred undertaking of dharmic service, their true purpose awaking. The morning star illuminated each mystery, shining, his voice echoed through the realms aligning. I return with rewards for deeds benign, take heed. Hold fast to righteousness, with compassion feed the hungering souls, in loving service lead. As Russell beheld each glory displayed, he was overwhelmed, yet knew more was bade to witness the ultimate ends of ends portrayed. Now at last salvation was consummated, all creation together reiterated, come Lord Vishnu. Jubilation awaited, the mysteries were revealed, unveiled and unfaded.